Stephanie White's dispute with Caitlin Clark didn't just make headlines. It echoed a deeper frustration boiling throughout the WNBA. The tension didn't begin with a single disagreement, but marked a shift in the league's mood, one of disillusionment, uncertainty, and erosion of unity. As top players weigh offers from alternative leagues with more lucrative deals and fewer restrictions, the cracks in the WNBA's foundation are becoming harder to ignore.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
Financial uncertainty, stalled collective bargaining, and leadership missteps have left even star players doubting the league's long-term viability. Clark's decision to step back came at a moment when the league needed unity the most, and instead, it exposed just how fractured the situation has become. The reality is stark. The league's infrastructure can no longer support its ambitions. Without flexible, future-proof financial models or a clear leadership vision, the WNBA risks unraveling faster than anyone anticipated. A canceled season isn't just a possibility. It's increasingly likely. Every missed negotiation, every ignored warning, pushes the league closer to losing its grip on relevance and survival in a rapidly shifting sports landscape. Caitlin Clark resigning is not just the headline. It's the unraveling thread. It's the moment where everything we've been hearing behind the scenes about internal dysfunction, financial instability, union failures, and a league on the edge finally broke through the surface. And it wasn't subtle. This wasn't a quiet step back or a focus on family exit. This was a resignation wrapped in tension, following a heated fallout with Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White at a time when the WNBA can least afford to lose anyone, let alone its most visible rising star. Clark leaving mid-season sends one message louder than anything else. The situation is not under control. She was supposed to be the league's anchor through a storm. Instead, she's the latest proof that the storm's already flooding the ship. And it only gets worse from there. Sophie Cunningham, another Indiana Fever player, said it flat out. She doesn't know if the WNBA will even exist next year. Not 5 years from now, not next year. That's not speculation. That's a player pulling the emergency brake in full view of the public. And the part that should worry everyone, nobody from the league has been able to prove her wrong. The WNBA is in a crisis. Not a slump. A crisis. Negotiations over the collective bargaining agreement have completely stalled. We're now 2 weeks into a deadlock with zero signs of progress. That's not just frustrating, it's dangerous. Because if this doesn't get resolved soon, the 2026 season is in serious jeopardy. And a canceled season would wipe out what little momentum the league has managed to build in recent years. Not to mention the devastating impact it would have on already fragile media partnerships, fan engagement, and sponsorships. What's causing the stalemate? 2 words: revenue sharing. Players want flexible, performance-based contracts that can scale with the league's value. They're pushing for a future-proof model because they know if the league grows, they're going to be the ones driving that growth. The WNBA, on the other hand, is clinging to fixed salary structures based on current valuations. The disconnect is massive. Players see growth and opportunity. Management sees risk and control. And as this plays out, rival leagues are circling like sharks, are offering larger payouts, better flexibility, and fewer restrictions. Top players are being tempted, and not quietly. These aren't vague opportunities. These are real alternatives, real contracts, real incentives to leave. And when you're watching your own league spiral and someone else is offering you financial security and professional respect, the decision starts to feel less like betrayal and more like self-preservation. If even a few key players leave, the talent pool collapses. The product weakens. Fans stop tuning in, and the media stops caring. It's a domino effect, and it's already started. The league's financial situation is another pressure point. It's been strained for years. There's a reason players have spent off seasons playing overseas, because domestic salaries weren't enough. And now, with increased attention and media coverage, expectations have risen. But the league's financial systems haven't evolved with them. Salaries are still tethered to outdated valuations, and leadership is acting like they can hold the line forever. They can't. The pressure is also being intensified by the players' union, which, frankly, has not helped matters. Their handling of recent issues, like the crowd behavior investigations and selective advocacy, has been questionable at best. Players are beginning to lose trust. There's a growing sense that the union may not be acting in the interest of all players equally. And in some corners, there's even concern that elements within the union are prepared to let the league collapse, to push through more radical reforms under a fresh start. That kind of internal fracture doesn't just hurt morale, it undermines the entire negotiating process. So now, we're at a point where the players don't trust the league doesn't trust the union, and the fans don't know who to believe. And all of this is unfolding under the very real threat that the league may not survive into the next season. This isn't theoretical. The CBA negotiations are frozen. Financial stability is crumbling. The top talent is looking for exits. And the resignation of the WNBA's most talked about rookie just accelerated everything. The loss of Caitlin Clark isn't just a roster change. It's a seismic shift. It's a loss of audience, a hit to ratings, a blow to branding. She brought in new fans. She moved merchandise. She gave the WNBA the kind of mainstream visibility it's always struggled to maintain. And now she's gone, because something behind the scenes made it unbearable to stay. That's not just a coaching issue. That's a leadership failure from top to bottom. The fallout with Stephanie White may have been the spark, but this fire has been burning for a long time. Years of financial strain, missed opportunities, weak marketing, internal disputes, and poor planning have led to this exact moment. The WNBA had one of the most high-profile rookies in league history and still managed to push her out. And the silence from league officials? Deafening. No real public acknowledgement. No plan. No action. Just vague statements and no comment. Energy while everything continues to deteriorate. The 2026 season is now at serious risk. If it gets canceled or even delayed, the WNBA loses everything it's built. The trust of fans, the attention of sponsors, the interest of broadcasters, it all disappears. The damage won't be temporary. It'll be structural, foundational. Because once a league proves it can't protect its players, can't keep its talent, and can't adapt to survive, people stop believing in it. The broader environment only adds to the instability. Economic inflation, changing media habits, and shifting fan behavior are already making sports harder to sustain. Add an internal dysfunction, financial mismanagement, and player unrest, and you've got a formula for collapse. The saddest part? The WNBA has survived tough times before. But what's happening now isn't just another low point. This is an existential threat, and the league's current leadership doesn't appear to understand the stakes. Players are speaking clearly. Sophie Cunningham gave us the truth. The new CBA needs to reflect the reality of today's game and the possibility of tomorrow's growth. The league needs to take player compensation seriously, because without the players, there's no product. There's no league. There's no future. And there's no time left to delay. Let us know what you think. Is Caitlin Clark's departure the tipping point? Can the league course correct in time? Or are we watching the WNBA's final chapters unfold? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you think the players deserve better than this. Share this with someone who still thinks everything is fine. And subscribe to stay with us, because we'll be covering every development, every shift, and every move as this story continues to unravel. So where exactly do we go from here? The WNBA just lost its most valuable rookie in Caitlin Clark, a player whose arrival was supposed to mark a new era for women's basketball. Instead, her resignation has become a warning shot, a flashing sign that the foundation isn't just cracking, it's collapsing. And let's be honest, fans can feel it. Whether you're watching from the stands or following from your phone, you know this isn't just a rough patch. This is what happens when years of unresolved issues finally catch up with a league that never learned to handle success. Because the truth is, Caitlin Clark didn't walk away because she couldn't play. She walked away because the environment made it impossible to thrive. Her reported fallout with coach Stephanie White may have lit the fuse, but the powder keg was already full, stuffed with ignored financial red flags, unresolved CBA disputes, internal dysfunction, and a union that seems more reactive than responsive. Add in the fact that rival leagues are making competitive offers while the WNBA is still haggling over outdated salary structures, and it's not hard to see why players are losing confidence. 2 weeks of stalled CBA negotiations is a death sentence in a league already short on time. There's no path forward without resolution. And yet, we're seeing silence. No movement. No compromise. Just a collective shrug as the clock ticks closer to 2026. A season that may never happen if this continues. And fans? They're caught in the middle, trying to support a league that's refusing to support itself. Let's talk about that for a second. The WNBA has always asked fans to invest emotionally and financially in a league fighting for visibility and legitimacy. And fans have, through short seasons, low media coverage, and systemic underfunding. Through thin salaries and second jobs overseas. Through promises that the next wave of stars, this rookie class, this campaign, this TV deal, would finally tip the scales. But when Caitlin Clark walks away, that goodwill cracks. She was the signal to the broader public that women's basketball was ready for the spotlight. And the league's failure to protect and support her, it sent the opposite message, that not even your brightest star is safe from a system that refuses to evolve. And let's not pretend like this happened in isolation. The players' union has been under fire for months. Their mishandling of crowd behavior issues, their questionable silence on public controversies, their selective advocacy, all of it paints a picture of an organization that may not be fully aligned with the players it claims to represent. There's growing concern, inside and outside the locker rooms, that the union is prioritizing control over consensus, that they'd rather see the league collapse and rebuild under new leadership than make the compromises needed to stabilize it right now. And if that's true, then this isn't just dysfunction, it's sabotage dressed up as strategy. Meanwhile, other leagues are watching this meltdown with wide eyes and open checkbooks. Unrivaled and Project Beat aren't waiting. They're already courting talent, already offering more money, already positioning themselves as the next stop for elite players who are done with uncertainty. And they're not just chasing headlines, they're filling a void, one the WNBA refuses to acknowledge. Because let's be clear, when you force your talent to choose between underpaid loyalty and financial freedom, don't be surprised when they pick the latter. This isn't about ego, it's about survival. And more players are realizing that waiting for the WNBA to get it together isn't a plan, it's a trap. The players are speaking louder now. Sophie Cunningham's comment wasn't a slip, it was a siren. A league insider publicly saying, "We don't even know if this thing will exist next year." That's as real as it gets. No spin, no soft language, just brutal honesty. And what did the league offer in response? Silence. No rebuttal. No vision statement. No roadmap for the future. Just business as usual while the future slips away. The cancellation of the 2026 season would be the final nail. That's not an exaggeration. If next season doesn't happen, it's not just a delay, it's a death blow. The sponsors walk. The broadcasters bail. The casual fans, those new viewers who tuned in for Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and the momentum of a growing sport, move on. And once that attention disappears, rebuilding it takes years. If it even comes back at all. You can't keep playing defense in a league that's supposed to be on the rise. You can't ignore structural flaws and hope star power will carry the weight. And you can't afford to lose your top talent because of petty leadership disputes and ancient salary models. The league's refusal to adapt is costing them everything. And it's not just financial, it's cultural. The WNBA has always represented more than basketball. It's been a symbol of inclusion, progress, resilience. But those values mean nothing if the people inside the system aren't being protected, heard, and valued. This was supposed to be a breakout era. The league was finally gaining traction. But now, it's a cautionary tale. Because even the most progressive branding can't save a league that refuses to change its internal reality. Even the most loyal fans can't compensate for failed infrastructure. And even a star like Caitlin Clark can't carry a team or a league if the system around her is broken. So what now? The league has one last window to course correct, but it's going to require more than statements. It's going to take action. Fast. Fix the CBA. Address player concerns directly. Reform leadership on both the league and union sides. Stop pretending everything is fine while the core of your league crumbles. And for once, just once, put the players first. Because without them, there's nothing left to save. Here's the part no one wants to admit. This isn't just about one player or one season. This is about trust. And right now, that trust is gone. Caitlin Clark didn't just walk away from a team. She walked away from a system that didn't protect her. A culture that didn't value her enough to listen. A league that wanted her spotlight, her stats, her fan base, but didn't care enough to fix the rot underneath. She gave everything. She brought new eyes, new fans, new energy. And when she needed the league to have her back, it gave her silence. Shrugged off the coaching conflict. Pretended the locker room wasn't fractured. Acted like the CBA stalemate wasn't about to push the entire WNBA off a cliff. Caitlin didn't leave because she was weak. She left because the league refused to be strong. And the most devastating part? She's not alone. She may be the first major resignation during this collapse, but unless something changes fast, she won't be the last. The cracks are already spreading. The revenue-sharing battle is only one piece of the puzzle, but it's a big one. The players are asking for contracts that grow with the league, that shift when the money shifts, that reflect their contribution to the value of the game. But instead of working with them, the league is treating these demands like a threat. And now, everything is on the line. 2 weeks with no movement on the CBA. That's not a delay. It's negligence. The stakes are too high for this kind of gridlock. The 2026 season is already in question. Canceling it would mean not just losing a year of games, but erasing momentum that took decades to build. And for what? To save a few dollars in the short term? To maintain a flawed power structure? Let's talk about power for a minute. Because the league has always controlled the narrative. They decide who gets airtime, who gets marketed, who gets protected. And right now, it's clear that protection isn't going to the players, especially not the ones speaking out. Sophie Cunningham told the truth, and the league responded by pretending she didn't say it. No public denial, no reassurance, just silence. And that silence? It's loud. It tells players that leadership has no plan, no urgency, no ability or willingness to face the truth, which means more and more players are looking for an exit. And rival leagues are right there, holding the door open. Unrivaled and Project B aren't fantasy leagues. They're organized, they're well-funded, and they're moving quickly. They're offering salaries the WNBA can't compete with. They're giving players freedom the current system won't allow. And they're creating something the WNBA has failed to deliver for years. Hope. If those leagues manage to siphon off even 5 or 6 of the league's top-tier athletes, it's over. The talent pool collapses. The product suffers. Fans lose interest. The media stops caring. And the WNBA, already on shaky ground, won't recover from that kind of loss. And again, let's not forget the union's role in all of this. Their mishandling of recent player concerns, their inconsistent advocacy, their vague public stance on Caitlin Clark's situation, all of it has damaged their credibility. They were supposed to be the voice of the players. Now, they're another layer of the problem. And what's worse, some players believe the union wants the league to collapse, just so they can rebuild it on their own terms. But this isn't a video game. You don't get to press restart and try again. If the league collapses, there's no guarantee that a better version takes its place. There's no guarantee at all. The damage will be permanent. The loss will be generational. And speaking of generations, what about the fans? Especially the young girls who just got introduced to the game, who saw themselves in Caitlin Clark, who thought, she's doing it, she's making it. Maybe I can too. What do you think they see now? They see her walk away. They see the league crumble. They see the system eat its own. And maybe, just maybe, they decide it's not worth it. That it's safer to admire the game from a distance than risk being a part of something that won't protect them when it matters. That's the emotional toll. The part no one's talking about in boardrooms or bargaining sessions. The human cost of a broken system. Because this isn't just business. This is people's lives, their work, their futures. And if the WNBA can't recognize that in time, it doesn't deserve to survive. Right now, everything depends on one thing: action. Not next month. Not after more meetings. Now, resolve the CBA. Rethink the salary model. Make revenue sharing real. Rebuild trust with the players. Reform the union if necessary. Address leadership failures, both in coaching and in the front office. And for once, actually listen to what the players are saying instead of trying to silence them. Because they've been warning everyone for months. Years. The league just chose not to hear it. Now there's nothing left to ignore. The alarms are blaring. The cracks are visible. And Caitlin Clark's resignation just made it impossible to pretend anymore. There's no sugarcoating it anymore. The league is out of excuses, out of time, and dangerously close to being out of players. Caitlin Clark's resignation was a scream through the silence. Not just about her own treatment or the dysfunction with Stephanie White, but about the state of the league as a whole. The failure to negotiate a fair CBA, the looming threat of a canceled 2026 season, the growing pull of rival leagues. It's all converging into a perfect storm. And what's the league doing? Standing still. They're letting the clock run out, acting like the next big star will save them, as if Caitlin wasn't just that. She was the moment, the crossover name, the kind of player who brings new money, new fans, new life. And now, she's gone because the environment was so broken that even she couldn't endure it. This is it. This is the league's last warning. If they don't act fast and publicly, they're going to lose not just players, but belief. And once belief is gone, everything else follows. This isn't about drama anymore. This is survival. Tell us how you feel about where the league stands. Are they too far gone? Can they turn around? Or is this the beginning of the end? Drop a comment, hit like if you're tired of seeing potential go to waste, and share this if you think more people need to see just how serious this has become. Subscribe for the next chapter, because we're not done. Not even close.